Assalamu alaikum and welcome to all in this video. Hope everyone is doing fine. I am very glad to giving me this opportunity to present this presentation today. So without any further ado, let's start the presentation. Before starting the presentation, I would like to give a short introduction of myself. I am Qazi Ghulam Dostogir Ahad. My ID is 192111021. I am currently studying BBA in Port Management and Logistics, Department of Port and Shipping Management and Faculty of Shipping Administration. So, the topic of our today's presentation is a cross-country study of competitiveness of the shipping industry. It is a research paper that is written by Chong-Bei Lee, Junbin Wan, Wenming Shi and Kevin Lee. It's a Q1 journal, and let's see what is the findings, what are the research and what are the studies they have done throughout this presentation. First, I would like to give a short overview about our presentation. In this presentation, we will see the research work about the introduction of the research, the literature review, the methodology they have followed, the empirical analysis, the conclusion, and lastly, the appendix. So, without any further ado, let's start with the introduction of the research paper. So in the introduction part, we can see that the 90% of global trade volume is carried by sea and maritime transport, and it is also regarded as the dominant mode of transport. So in the introduction, we also find out that the operational performance of multinational corporations and even a country's foreign trade and national economy is influenced by the shipping. On the other hand, shipping finance, shipping insurance and shipping derivatives have more contribution on it. But about this topic, there are only few relative articles that done under country shipping competitiveness. So in this research paper, the paper is all about identifying the 24 main factors that influencing the present and potential competitiveness of the shipping industry by practical perspective, while we weight the influence factors and determine about them. Next, we will see the short picture about the literature review regarding this paper. In the literature part, we can see that a large number of studies are done in about the port competitiveness during the period of 1980 to 2005, and it was reviewed by EO, a researcher. On the other hand, there are a research about the perspective of port operations by Acosta that provided an exploratory analysis about the factors of determined competitiveness of fuel supply at the port of the Gibraltar Strait. On the other hand, the researcher you again provided evidence about the factors such as operating capacity, convenient facility, electronic documents about the Asian container terminals. On the other hand, another researcher, which is King, he has shown in 1999 the competitiveness of shipbuilding industry was an importance in the economic development and national security of ocean nations and areas. Lastly, the Thanopoulou have pointed the profitability on the fleet or the more wide perspective of shipping company in its research. Now we will see the methodology that has been followed in this research paper. So in the methodology, we can see that they have followed 3 steps mainly. First of all, they have identified the main factors that are influencing the shipping competitiveness. So for doing that, first of all, in the first step, they did is all available influence factors that exist in the previous literature, they all are summarized here. Secondly, by interviewing some experts with extensive experience in the field, the factors that we found in step 1 that are supplemented from a practical perspective. Next, in the third step, another 7 experts carefully chosen to determine whether those 31 influence factors that they have got in step 2 should be left in our evaluation framework. Lastly, in step 4, based on the relationship between this present and potential shipping competitiveness, the correlations were found and the framework to study the industries and the locations. Secondly, they weight the main influence factor. First, they model the problem as a hierarchy and explore the aspects of the problem at levels, and they express it in multi-level way, that is AHP. In the second step, they determine the weight to given each factor to evaluate the country's shipping competitiveness. And third, by a researcher Yuan who wrote a research paper in 2012, the shipping competitiveness score of country that is regarded as K is calculated using the following equations. On the last on the last step, a cluster analysis of the major maritime country is done, and the cluster concept is employed to analyze the competitiveness issue of many years in the shipping industry. So this was followed in this research paper. Now we will see the empirical analysis of this research and the research topic. The empirical analysis, we have seen that we have the researchers done the data collection under the guidance of some expert and a correlation analysis. After all, they have come to a path that 24 main factors of the relevant to the evaluation model are finally chosen by the AHP method. Second, they ranked the main maritime countries. The ranking result of main maritime countries are presented. Among them, the top 5 was Greece, Germany, Japan, Korea, and Denmark. Among them, Greece, Germany, and Denmark are the traditional powerful nations, and other was the less traditional powerful nations. Lastly, a cluster analysis of the main maritime countries. Then there was a cluster analysis of the main maritime countries among the 24 factors, and seen that how they are dependable and how they are impacting on the maritime industry. And for that they have used the SPSS software so that the comprehension and the complex analysis is done properly. Lastly, in the conclusion part, we have seen that on the basis of this research paper, we have come to a conclusion that according to the results of the questionnaires and the Delphi method they have followed, the 24 factors have been chosen from a practical perspective, while weights of factor are determined and the application by analytical hierarchy process, which is AHP. And the study also has some potential limitations as well, which could point to avenue for future research. First, only 39 usable responses were considered in this research paper. A small sample might influence the final result. On the other hand, among the 45 countries 2010 data we recollected to reflect the shipping competitiveness. However, it would be interesting to investigate the dynamics of the result by the ranking, which examine whether a country's shipping position improves. Now, in the appendix part, we can see that there are few tables that were used in this research paper. First of all, in the literature review, the factors of competitiveness of shipping industry that we have seen in the other literatures. Among them, there are listed the authors and the factors that identify, and among them, if we just say some, that Lam and Yap in 2011, they have shown the factor which is the LSCI. The Folk has shown the factor, the ratio of foreign vessels, and Yo has shown the port throughput, volume, container throughput, quality, and port infrastructure as well. These are the many factors. Secondly, we can see that the respondent profile, among them the respondent profile, we can identify the 24 factors. These factors are done and selected. Among them, there are 5 major factors. With them, there are the 24 other sub factors. The major factors were the productivity of the labor, the ratio of foreign vessels, container throughput, the market share of demolition market, and the efficiency of customer clearance. Lastly, there we can see the consistency index, where face-to-face and telephone interviews are conducted with 39 collected response from 70 questionnaires. Among them, 36 questionnaires were usable due to CI was less than 0.1. Lastly, we have seen the references that has been used in this paper, and we can see that there are many references about writing this research paper. Among them, the major papers have been selected and shown here. Among them, Acosta, Agitav, Benito, Brooks have Brooks paper have been used to reference this research paper. So that's all from my side. This is where I depart. Thank you all for your patience and having this presentation. Thank you again. Goodbye.